Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
So we are in Colon Township, which is in St. Joseph County. Kind of
in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
That was exactly what James Gray and Jacob Hagan were looking for in 2017.
We bought it for the purpose of, the weekend getaway in the country.
Farrand Hall became their escape from Chicago.
Looking for houses built before 1900 that had at least 10 acres and 4 bedrooms. And this came up, and it was, I think, just one of those little magical things where, like, what is this house? We should go see this. Its style, its age, it's 170 years old right now. So it's definitely the oldest house I've ever lived in. So
yeah,
it has its challenges, but it's also a fun time.
Along with a lifetime of projects, this stately manor also came with a small town, tight-knit community.
People wanted to know who the two guys were that bought this house. And so so many people were coming here and asking us, like, who are you? Why did you buy the house?
Jacob and James welcomed them with open arms for al fresco dinners on the farm.
We just thought, well, we have all of this property. It's so beautiful out here. Let's invite people out, and it'll give people a chance in the community to get to know us and for us to get to know people in the larger community. And that's kind of how it started.
How this started. Curated meals with guest chefs from all over the Midwest and the country in the middle of nowhere.
After we started doing the dinners back in 2018, the reception afterwards was always really amazing. That people would come up to us and say, oh, this was such a great time. We hope you keep doing this. And that's why we did. People asked us to keep doing it.
People kept showing up and dinners always sold out. So these guys started a new project.
We built the new dining buildings, and the big black building, we just had that finished in May of last year. And that building was designed to allow us to be 365 days a year. So that has a small commercial kitchen and commercial grade bathrooms, indoor seating for about 40 people.
With both buildings, there is seating for 80, and it's almost always a packed house. Guests are driving 2 to 3 hours or more for a seat at the table.
I think it is creating something for people that is very unique and special and different.
James and Jacob are quick to credit their team.
We've had employees who have been with us since day one, or even just guest chefs who have cooked here once. They are a huge part of the experience that people get when they're here.
And that experience just keeps getting better.
We're just getting ready to announce our 2025 season, and we have 8 Michelin-starred chefs coming to cook here from as far away as San Francisco and New York. We have, I think, 11 or 12 James Beard nominated or winning chefs.
Those are the best of the best, so the food will be a star, but it's really the full experience that feeds your soul.
When you create these spaces for people to get together and to just commune and gather and share food and drinks in a setting like this, that essentially, they walk away from these experiences just feeling like a restored sense of like humanity and relationship of humans, something that we're constantly further and further apart.
All right. Pull this up on my live stream. On my on base. We have a formal zoning violation matter scheduled for this morning. It's entitled Colon Township versus James John Gray and Jacob James Hagan. Mr. Gray has filed 251080ON. Jacob Hagan is represented by attorney Casey Strong, and that is file 252078. James Gray, present, and Jacob Hagan, present. Mr. Lance Thornton is here on behalf of the township. And Casey Strong, are you here on behalf of both defendants?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, for both defendants. This is a matter of some public interest. It involves what we know as Farrand Hall, which is a, well, we'll call it Destination Banquet Facility Restaurant in Colon Township. Mr. Thornton has represented Colon Township for a long time, and Casey Strong is one of the attorneys that practices here in our county. Just as a disclosure, I would let you both know that obviously I've been a patron of Farrand Hall. I actually have a reservation at Farrand Hall for later this month on a brunch. I think it's on I don't know what day it is. Anyway, it's this month, August. I have a reservation. We're going to take some friends there. So I am a patron. I've been there. And the practical matter, I probably actually parked in the spot that is in contention on Timber Trail Drive. I discussed this with the other judges, and I don't believe there's a need for me to recuse myself because I had a reservation. They indicated if I wanted to give it to them, they would go make a reservation themselves. So in for a penny, in for a pound, but I thought I should disclose that. Mr. Thornton, does that make you uncomfortable or otherwise have a concern about my handling this matter?
It does not.
Ms. Strong?
Not at all, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right. This is a formal hearing on a zoning violation. The original citation was issued on June 10th of 2025. Zoning violation of section 26-4. The ticket states, by signing a special land use permit, the permit holder agreed not to park within the easement along Timber Run Trail, which is a private road. And the PO, I'm not sure, that property owner continues to park within the easement and has not finished the parking lot in the time specified by the township. Mr. Thornton has also provided a number of other documents in support of that with the filing of the jurat. Casey Strong filed an appearance in this some time ago. Apparently there's been no discussion. Ms. Strong indicated she offered to speak to you this morning and you declined to do so. I'm not sure what that's about.
Didn't necessarily decline, Your Honor. I just didn't know what we would discuss at this point.
All right, well, let's see where, what's the status here?
The status is the plaintiff, Colon Township, is ready to proceed with the formal hearing. We've got one preliminary matter. I did issue subpoenas to Mr. Gray and Mr. Hagan last week through their counsel. And I asked Ms. Strong this morning whether any documents were brought here today in response to those subpoenas, and she indicated no.
Were they subpoenas Dukas Takem?
Yeah, for production of documents.
I don't have those, so I don't know what they said. But all right, well, let's see where we go. They're here. It's your case.
And Your Honor, if I may respond to those subpoenas, those were sent to my office and they were requested that my clients testify at trial, examination, or hearing and produce copies of any and all documents showing number of persons, including guests and employees on the grounds of Farrand Hall on May 25th, 2025. I've spoken with my clients and those documents, there are no records to produce, and I would object to any and all testimony from my clients at this hearing. This is a state actor. This is a zoning violation that has consequences and implications across the board for my clients, and they will not be testifying unless compelled by the court.
All right, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. It is a zoning violation. I'm not sure if it carries a criminal penalty. If it does, they have a Fifth Amendment right not to testify. If it's a civil matter only, they can be compelled to testify. Anyway, there's more going on here than is apparent from the face of this ticket. The courtroom is full of people, I guess, who have an interest, either pro or con the ticket, and it's certainly a public courtroom. Matter is being live streamed, and I expect there'll be some interest from the public regarding this matter. So, Mr. Thornton, we'll see where we go at this point. What is the township seeking if a finding against the defendants is made?
Finding of a responsibility for parking within the easement in violation of the special land use permit. Actually, paragraph 7 of that special land use permit that was signed by both Mr. Hagan and Mr. Gray. And then fines, costs, and restitution, Your Honor.
You did supply the special use permit and some of the ordinance stuff, but that's not what you're seeking. You're not seeking a $100 fine and restitution. There's more going on here. We aren't doing all this for a one-day parking violation in May. So I guess I'll learn as we go forward. Anyway, who do you wish to call as a witness?
I would begin with Lindsay Stauffer, Your Honor.
So look, I'm kind of confused about what's going on here. And as such, I was thinking there might be other people out there that was confused about what's going on here too. So in consideration of that, yeah, we're going to watch us a little bit of a news story about what's going on at Farrand Hall. How does that sound? And go.
A St. Joseph County business is being taken to court by local leaders over parking problems. But at a Colon Township meeting tonight, the business says enough is enough. News Channel 3's Colin Roos takes a look at why some people are calling this a legal issue, while others say it's flat out bullying.
Tempers ran high in Colon Township tonight at a meeting discussing the popular event center Farrand Hall. The township says its owners are not abiding by its approved uses, while those owners say they are the target of a harassment campaign. James Gray and Jacob Hagan have owned this space for 8 years, inviting top chefs from all over the country to prepare meals for their guests. While their business has brought hundreds to the township, tensions have grown in recent years with both officials and Farrand Hall's neighbors, who say visitors to their highly attended events are illegally parking in a nearby easement. But Gray and Hagan say the complaints have become attacks leveled at them and their 25 employees on social media.
I'm here to encourage the Colon Township Board to work with Farrand Hall to end the negativity and harassment that is created.
The two point out they put in a parking lot to mitigate the issue. However, they were issued a citation after it wasn't finished by May 1st, and visitors continued to park in the easement, which they call a needless reaction to a good faith effort.
Obviously it was coming, but they felt the need to give us a citation immediately, which, you know, again, just feels like unnecessary harassment.
Colon Township provided News Channel 3 a fact sheet with several years of accusations against Gray and Hagan, alleging they violated their permits by operating a cafe and outdoor markets. Others spoke out against Farrand Hall at the meeting, including neighbor Robert Fisher. He says he doesn't have a problem with the business itself, but is fed up with how the parking issues resulted in trespassing on his property.
It would be one thing to pull in and turn around. It's another thing to drive through the whole driveway, stop in the middle of it, recalculate the GPS for 5 minutes.
He told us the parking lot was not put where it was planned to be, and he's paying the price.
We counted as high as 15 on one Saturday.
For their part, Gray and Hagan say they're ready to legally defend themselves if necessary, but also ready to move on.
We want it to be over.
This is a small community, and this situation has just really sort of torn this community apart into two camps.
Colon Township leaders had no comment tonight beyond giving us this fact sheet. However, Supervisor Sandy Jackson says there are facts to back up the citations and they will be shown in court. In Colon Township, Colin Roos, News Channel 3.
Well, so that's what's going on. Interesting. So that gets us right back to here.
Good morning. You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Have a seat if you would, and would you state and spell your first and last name?
Lindsay Stauffer, Lindsay. Last name Staufer.
All right, there is a sworn affidavit in here from you, which I will take a look at. Go ahead, Mr. Thornton.
Ms. Stauffer, where do you reside?
I reside at 31056 Timber Run Trail.
So that is the same Timber Run Trail that Farrand Hall runs beside Farrand Hall, is that correct?
Yes, we're located towards the back of the closed private drive.
So you travel Timber Run Trail to get to where you reside?
Yes.
And were you present in that area on May 25th of this year?
Yes.
And did you, were you aware that there was a function going on at what we refer to as Farrand Hall?
Yes.
Did you witness anything along Timber Run Trail that day?
I noticed there was parking on the easement.
And what did you see?
I saw a truck vehicle with, it looked like it had a trailer behind it. And I think there was another car also parked there too.
Did you take photographs that day?
Yes.
I may approach your honor.
Yes.
I supply the photographs to the.
I don't have those, or I'd screen share them.
Did you hand her all of them or just one of them?
I handed her two of them. These two that indicate iPhone.
Thank you.
These are two copies, your honor, of what I handed the witness.
So this was 9:28 at night. And one was at 6 p.m. This was a Sunday. All right. Are these going to be exhibits 1 and 2?
Yes, your honor.
Put stickers on those. Any objection to the admission of the photographs?
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted.
Do those photographs, Ms. Stauffer, are they an accurate depiction of what you saw on May 25th with regard to the parking along Timber Run Trail?
Yes.
And you took those photographs yourself?
Yes.
Are the photographs an accurate representation of what you saw?
Yes.
Have they been edited or modified in any way?
No.
Do you know whether those vehicles pictured in those photographs are within the easement of Timber Run Trail?
Yes.
How do you know that?
So the easement is 33 feet from the center of the drive. And that includes any grass area. It's not just the travel portion. So the vehicles are within the easement area. There's also been a survey done where there are stakes showing where the easement is.
So I'm interested in this easement because this isn't a public road. This is a private road. So there's not a county road right of way. So I'm interested in, I don't have any documents that would establish that there's a 33-foot easement on this private road. And so Ms. Strong was shaking her head. I think she may have the same question. So anyway, I'll let you go further. I'm not sure this is the witness that has the information we need, but go ahead.
Ms. Stauffer, did you also have occasion on May 25th to see any other parking related to Farrand Hall?
I saw parking in their parking lot that day.
And what did you see in that regard?
I saw it was very full. There was even vehicles in the like the entrance of the parking lot. So it appeared to be very full.
So describe for the court the parking lot you're talking about.
So I believe their parking lot holds, I think 40 cars. I think that's about the estimate. It's located behind their property off of the easement. But it was, that day, it was very full and appeared to be overflowing.
Okay. And the photographs that you took, actually, the first one was appears to have been
Here are the
taken.
pictures. All right.
The first one appears to be taken at, and this is just the way we entered them, but 9:28 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
It shows a white truck with a enclosed dark colored trailer, correct?
Yes.
And it's a little blurry, but it maybe 2 or 3 cars that are in front of that truck. Is that correct?
In front of the truck, I don't remember more than just the truck and that van.
The van or SUV?
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't remember more than just those vehicles.
okay. That's all I had for this witness, Your Honor.
All right. And then the other picture is just a picture earlier that same evening.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. This is Casey Strong. She's representing the defendants. She has some questions for you also. You are still under oath.
So you travel Timber Run Trail often to get to your residence, correct?
Yes.
Every day?
Nearly every day, yes.
Okay. And multiple times a day?
It depends on what I have scheduled that day.
Okay. And anytime you travel that road, do you pass Farrand Hall?
Yes.
And tell me about this easement. How wide is it? How wide is the roadway portion?
I'm not sure how wide the gravel portion is, but our easement is a total of 66 feet, including the gravel and the sides of the gravel. And the 33 feet is on each side, starting in the middle.
You know a lot about this easement.
I do.
Yeah. So you say that there's a gravel portion. When you're passing a car, can you drive 2 cars in different directions on the easement?
Most of the time, yes.
Most of the time. And on the day that you are talking about, that May 25th day, could you pass through, could you access your property?
Yes.
And do you think another car oncoming could also access their property?
Yes, depending on the size of the vehicle.
And do you often photograph the Farrand Hall property?
Yes.
Yes. On more than one occasion?
Yes.
Okay. And can you see the new parking lot that you talked about from your property?
No.
No. About how far away is that?
I don't know exactly how long our property is from the Farrand Road and then Timber Run Trail. But it's at least a few houses down.
Okay.
We live in a wooded area that's enclosed.
Okay. So you say the Farrand Hall Road, that's the city road, correct?
The county road.
The county
The
road.
county
Thank
road,
you.
yeah.
And then the easement, the access easement comes off of that, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And your properties are all off of that.
yes.
And did you know what the function was that day on the 25th?
I believe it was a wedding.
Okay. So it wasn't a private event associated with the business?
I don't know what you consider private event, but it was a wedding.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Just one clarification.
Yes.
Ms. Stoffer, can you see the new parking lot at Farrand Hall from the Timber Trail easement?
Yes.
Timber Run Trail easement. So you don't have to go on to Farrand Hall's property to see that parking.
All right, as I indicated, I've been there. And Farrand Hall is on Farrand Road. And Farrand Road is a county road. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And that's paved.
Yes.
And Timber Run Trail runs, I guess, which way is that? North?
Timber Run Trail would basically run east-west.
East-west, okay. So it runs to the, I have to look at my map again, off of it. Timber Run Trail is a private road, is that correct?
Yes.
Who owns it?
It's a shared ownership, I believe, with all of our neighbors. Because it's one way in and one way out. It's landlocked.
All right, it's a dead end road.
Yes.
How many people live on Timber Run Trail?
There's 5 houses.
It's about a half a mile long.
Yeah.
So there are a total of 5 houses who are inconvenienced by people parking in the side of the road. Is that correct?
Yes.
Ms. Strong asked this, the way they park, does it prohibit people from going up and down the road?
Depends on the size of the vehicle.
All right, well, they don't block the whole road, do they?
No.
All right, and all right, so this private road is owned by 5 houses. How many property owners are there?
I am unsure. 5 or I think there's 6 houses. I forgot the Arnold's. There's 6 houses. Each of those houses own property.
All right, is there some sort of neighborhood association or something like that?
No.
All right, Ms. Strong asked you, you know a lot about this easement. How do you, I'm unclear about it. I haven't seen any deeded access or I'm not clear what the road status is for a private road, whether there is a presumed 33-foot easement. We may have to determine that. Why do you believe there's a 33-foot easement on each side of the road?
We have a deed that is associated to our property, and it's a deed that discusses that easement. So it outlines, I believe, the footage, and also that there should not be anything blocking or obstructing in that easement.
All right, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah,
follow-up
certainly.
on Your Honor's questions. The judge asked you about blocking of the road. during the time that Farrand Hall's operated, have you seen vehicles parked within the traveled portion of Timber Run Trail?
Your Honor, I would object to this. The citation's just for the 25th.
That's correct.
But Your Honor raised.
I did ask, and so she did say yes. So I guess.
And I would agree that we're getting a little bit, in my opinion, outside the parameters of today's hearing, which was there parking within the easement?
Well, I'm struggling with the easement. You stated there's an easement. I haven't seen anything yet to establish that there is, and I have a concern that this is a private road and you're representing the private owners of this private road. So
I have the recorded copies of the documents.
I guess we'll get there at some point.
And we can put those in.
I didn't see them in the pleadings.
They weren't in. Okay.
All right. Do you have any other questions for this witness?
I do not, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You may step down, Ms. Stauffer.
I'm just looking here, Your Honor, so I don't give you duplicates. I have two documents, Your Honor. One, before I call my next witness, we'll just try to address this whole easement issue. One is a decree from the Circuit Court of St. Joseph County, recorded at Liber, I believe it's 300, page 596. And the other is an easement relocation agreement that is recorded document in St. Joseph County Register of Deeds Records at Liber 673, page 351. I do not have copies of these. We could take a break and make copies. I believe Ms. Strong probably has copies of these.
Do you have any objection?
No, Your Honor, and I would seek to enter the warranty deed, Liber 1868, page 458, showing that my clients do own the property underlying.
I can bring those up to Your Honor if you'd like.
All right, let's call yours 3 and 4, and we'll call Ms. Strong's Exhibit A.
Those are mine.
And we'll make some copies before we're done. Would you mark these as plaintiff's Exhibit 3 and 4?
You talking to me?
No,
Okay.
the clerk. We'll mark this as defendant's Exhibit A. The ruling, boy, that goes back a ways. Judge Mark Andrews, St. Joseph County Circuit Judge. That time it was still a circuit, but Andrews was the circuit judge for Branch and St. Joseph County. And that is a decree by some previous owners dated January 4th, 1960. We'll take a closer look at that. An easement relocation agreement signed by our old friend Bill Drake drafted this. Some other parties, none of these parties, between easement Jasmine Beck, owner, and easement users, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll take a closer look at that. That is defendants plaintiffs 3 and 4. The defendants Exhibit A purports to be a warranty deed by the defendants regarding their ownership of this adjacent parcel of property. All right, thank you.
Also, Your Honor, I have a, it's called a preliminary survey sketch dated March 20th, 2025, prepared by Mostrom and Associates Incorporated. I believe that also Ms. Strong has a copy of.
I believe so.
And I do not have Mostrom's here, but I think if we end up calling and the judge allows the defendants to be called in this civil action as witnesses that have been subpoenaed here, we could establish that they did recently have the easement surveyed, and this sketch is of that survey.
Ms. Strong, do you have any objection to the admission of that sketch?
I have no objection.
We'll call that plaintiff's Exhibit 6.
Again, I do not have copies of this.
We'll get a copy so you've got them for your file before we're done here.
Yes, I agree. Okay, my next witness would be Pamela Stahl.
Three, 4, 5, and 6 are admitted. Oh, excuse me. I call that 6. It should be 5. Should be 5. 3, 4, 5 are admitted. Good afternoon or good morning. Would you please raise your right hand? You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Thank you. Again, would you state your name and spell your first and last name for the record?
My name is Pamela Stauffer, Pamela. Last name Stauffer.
Thank you.
And Ms. Stauffer, where do you reside?
I reside at 31056 Timber Run Trail.
And that is the same address as Lindsay Stauffer that testified
correct.
before you. Are you related?
She's my daughter.
So you live back of Farrand Hall off of Timber Run Trail, correct?
Correct.
So you're in and out or up and down Timber Run Trail almost every day, if not every day.
Maybe not quite every day, but quite often.
And were you aware of a function happening at Farrand Hall on May 25th of this year?
Yes.
And you know what that function was?
I believe it was a wedding.
And what did you see that day as far as what was going on along Timber Run Trail and at Farrand Hall?
Well, we saw cars parked within the easement right of way. I also saw the parking lot that was really, really full and the cars were spilling out into the bottleneck of the entrance. I also noticed, I watched a car park right behind the black building and get out for the party. So.
Did you take photos on May 25th of this year?
Yes, I did.
Ms. Strong, these are the ones that are indicated Samsung.
Thank you.
So I just didn't hurt.
So we've got 5. So this would be 6, 7, and 8.
Ms. Stauffer, are those the photos that you took on May 25th of this year?
Yes, they are.
Do those photographs, 3 photographs, accurately indicate what you saw that day?
Yes, they do.
Have the photos been edited or modified in any way to your knowledge?
No, they have not.
And are those vehicles shown in those photos, to your knowledge, parked within the easement or outside of the easement?
They are within the easement.
And when you testified just a few moments ago that you also saw the parking lot that day, you're talking about the new parking lot that was recently installed by the owners of Farrand Hall, is that
That's
correct?
correct.
And again, you can see that from Timber Run Trail.
Correct.
And I believe you testified, what you witnessed was that the parking lot was full.
Extremely full.
You said they were parking in the, I don't know what you
I
described.
called it the bottleneck. It's where the parking, it's square and then it bottlenecks into the entrance. And
So the drive leading to
the
the
drive
parking.
leading in had cars parked in it.
And in your time on Timber Run Trail, have you witnessed, and I'm not talking on May 25th, although you could include that, but have you had the occasion to witness cars parked along Farrand Hall within the easement that are in the traveled portion of the road?
You're talking anytime?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I have for this witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Strong?
Your Honor. On May 25th, which is the only relevant day to this matter, how long did you sit watching the vehicles?
Oh, I didn't sit watching them.
Then tell me more about how you observed them.
Well, you drive in and out. We make that first corner and you can see who's parked there.
So about what kind of a duration was this that you saw this? Because there are a couple of different photos at different times.
Mm-hmm.
Were you going in and out? Tell me more about that.
Oh, there's often times on Sunday that we didn't get our mail on Saturday. So we will go out on Sundays to pick up the mail.
Where's the mail?
The mail's at the end of the driveway.
Okay.
The end of the Timber Run Trail?
Correct.
All right.
But you said the driveway, so.
Well, the end of Timber Run Trail is the mailboxes.
And did you notice, you said there was a car parked along the black barn. How long was that car there?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't stay there and watch them. I just notice that they're there.
And did any of these cars belong to James or Jacob?
That day?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know that.
And you mentioned you're talking within the easement. You say that phrase a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Can you clarify, were there any blocking the roadway?
No.
At any point, were you unable to access your own property?
No, I could access my property.
And is it true that you've engaged an attorney to civilly explore options against my clients in regards to that private easement?
We have obtained an attorney, yes.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honor.
It does not raise anything further.
I have a couple. You mentioned their parking lot was very full, parked in the bottleneck. Is that upsetting to you?
Well, it's not upsetting. It just means that there's too many people probably on the property.
Well, it's their property. So, you testified to that, and I just detected a sense of disdain in your voice that these people had all these cars in their parking lot for a wedding. And I just wondered, why would that bother you? On this particular day, did these cars that you photographed prohibit you from going out to get your mail?
No.
But this was upsetting to you. And why is this all upsetting to you?
Well, because, Your Honor, this easement we've lived there for over 30 years. And we were told if we did not protect the integrity of this easement, I mean, we could lose our rights.
Well, I guess you're concerned about some sort of adverse possession or something that someone else would obtain rights to your easement.
Well, it's just the fact that, how do I explain it? This all started because of the markets they were doing, and they plugged the easement both sides and outside on Farrand Road. That was one of their events. And they didn't just do it once, they did it 3 times. And
this was sometime in the past?
This was I believe it was, the last one was fall of 23.
All right, well, let's just leave it at that. We're talking
Okay.
about something that happens now,
Okay.
but you don't like this. Is it fair to say you don't like this business being in your neighborhood?
No, I don't care about that at all. It's just that I think that the easement is very clear as far as what should be going on there. You know, blocking, impeding, all of the things that were written from 1960. And
Yeah,
that's
apparently
for the-
people have been fighting about this easement for a long time, 65 years. And the 5 families that live on Timber Run Trail don't like it. And they have the easement. It's private. So your family or you and others have retained private counsel?
Myself and 3 other of the neighbors.
So 4 families have retained private counsel to
Well,
protect your rights?
we're all splitting the same.
Okay, and I don't, that sounds like good neighbors, but so 4 of the neighbors have hired a lawyer to protect your rights?
Yes.
Okay. Does that raise any questions for anybody else?
Not sure, Your Honor. I guess it may. I'm concerned about the court's implication that I'm representing as township council, private parties here. I may ask this witness a couple of questions in that regard, if I may.
Certainly, go ahead.
Ms. Stauffer, obviously, since you've lived out there, as part of the zoning and the special land use permit that was issued to Mr. Hagan and Mr. Gray's business, you were part of those proceedings, correct?
Yes.
You attended meetings, correct? You and your husband?
I don't think we attended, but James has asked us to write a letter of recommendation. And he told us it would be a bed and breakfast situation with guests staying at the Farrand Hall home and then occasional dinners. And we wrote a letter for that. Like, we were on board with it. That was fine with us.
You're talking back initially when it was first granted.
Initially.
Okay. Now, let's move ahead to when Mr. Gray and Mr. Hagan requested an amendment to their special land use permit. And there were proceedings in front of the Township's Planning Commission, correct?
Correct.
And did you attend those meetings with your husband?
Yes, we did.
And your other neighbors attended those meetings, correct? Do you know that?
Yes, they did.
You were there with them?
They were there with us, yes.
And because you're within 300 feet, you own property within 300 feet, you get a letter from the township, is that correct? Letting you know of those public hearings?
I do not think that we initially get a letter. We're just beyond the boundaries, so I think the neighbors speak amongst themselves to see who got what.
Okay,
But I think now that it has gotten, I don't know how to say it, it's getting more in depth, then we now get letters. Because we are part of the Timber Run Trail. I think we're just a skiff outside of the 300 feet.
and those hearings give you an opportunity to address concerns you have that may affect you and your property due to the business that the township was considering allowing on that property. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's all I have.
I should note, I never did admit 6, 7, and 8. The 3 photographs that this witness testified to are also admitted without objection. Thank you, ma'am. You may step down.
I have one question.
Oh, all right.
That's
Maybe
the
there's
witness
one
that
more.
was raised. How many times have you submitted photos to Mr. Thornton regarding the parking issue?
I don't know that I submit them to him directly.
How do you submit them?
I send them to the township supervisor.
And how many times have you submitted photos to the township supervisor?
Oh, multiple.
Can you give me a ballpark?
I can't really. It's just
5 or more?
Oh, 5 or more.
10 or more?
Sure,
15 or more?
probably.
20 or more?
Probably.
No
When
further
it
questions.
happens, I probably send them.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. You're free to step down. You're free to stay. Also, you're free to go on about your business or stay.
Thank you.
Mr. Thornton.
The next witness for the township would be Joe Klein.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
All right. Please have a seat and state your name for the record, please.
Oh, Your Honor, I was recognized as Joe Klein. I go by Joe, but my legal name is Forrest Joseph Klein. So FORRESTKLINE. Last name.
Where are you employed, Mr. Klein?
Safe Bill.
And what is Safe Built's relationship with Colon Township?
We are a full service building department for them.
You also do zoning administration for
Yes.
for the township.
Yes.
And how long have you been acting? What hat do you wear for at Safe Built for Colon Township?
I'm their zoning administrator, and I also handle any admin issues that come up for the township. I serve also as a code enforcement function when needed.
And you are familiar with Farrand Hall and Mr. Gray and Mr. Hagan?
Yes, I am.
You've dealt with them multiple times, I'm assuming, at this
Yes.
point.
Yep, yep, we've spoken many times.
You were involved with the building of this new parking lot we've been discussing, is that correct? And when I say involved, what was your involvement in the parking lot?
My involvement was the parking lot to be located outside the easement at Timber Run was approved by the planning commission. So my function was to just verify that it met all the requirements within the zoning ordinance. That meant all the parking spaces, ADA compliant, distances from property line and easement. So it was just my job to verify that it met the requirements of the zoning ordinance.
Did Mr. Gray and Mr. Hagan have a deadline to finish the parking lot?
They were on their special land use permit. It was proposed that they were given a grace period to finish the project, but I believe it was denied at that time, so their deadline was immediately following their amended special land use permit, as far as I'm aware. The township, however, chose to not pursue that, to my understanding, to give them time through the winter months and to make reasonable accommodations to give them a reasonable amount of time to get the parking lot installed, is my understanding of it.
And what was, do you have an understanding of when that deadline was from the town? Let me finish question. So you're, when that deadline was from the township's perspective as to finishing the parking lot?
I believe it was unofficially May 1st was what we had talked about. And I think that's the timeline I projected to Farrand Hall. And then on May 1st, there was still some loose ends that need to be tidied up. So I think we gave them an additional 15 days. I think it was May 15th was the new deadline to try and, but again, that was an unofficial deadline because there really wasn't anything in writing. That was just us working with them verbally, or, trying to communicate with them. Here's some more time to finish it up. But we really gotta get this wrapped up by this deadline, or we have to start pursuing enforcement. So.
And when you're talking May 1st and May 15th, you're talking this year?
Correct.
2025.
Correct.
Can I approach the witness?
Certainly.
Show the witness exhibits 6 through 10. Plaintiff's exhibits 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8, which are the photos the plaintiff has entered. Go ahead and finish flipping through them. As zoning administrator, are you familiar with the easement we've been talking about, the easement for Timber Run Trail?
Yes.
Do you know, has that easement recently been staked and surveyed?
It has, yes, by most drums.
And have you seen the survey for that easement?
I have, and the stakes as well.
So you've been out on the property and
Yes.
saw the survey irons that are put in by the survey?
Correct. Yes.
So you're familiar with the boundaries of that easement?
Correct.
How wide is that easement?
To my knowledge, it's 66 feet across total.
And in reviewing those photos, the vehicles parked and shown in those photos, can you testify as to whether, to your knowledge, those are within that easement or outside that easement?
I believe they are within the easement. If memory serves correctly, the fence is 2 feet outside of the easement where these vehicles are parked in front of the black building. So if they were within, outside that, they're well within the easement.
When you say it's 66 feet across, what do you mean?
The entire width of the easement, I believe, is 66 from one side to the other.
So it includes the road?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, the driving portion of the road hugs the north side of that easement, if I'm not mistaken, sir.
All right. So how wide is the road?
Is Your Honor asking how wide is the traveled portion of the road?
Yes.
I have not measured that. I would estimate it somewhere around 20 to 24 feet in that area. I have not actually measured that to see. I think it might be on the survey though. I think it was delineated on there if I'm not mistaken.
So the road hugs the north side of the easement.
That is how I remember it, yes.
So the easement's wider on one side of the road than it is on the other?
Yes, and that's common, Your Honor, for the easements to either start out in the middle and then wander one way or the other, or vice versa. They're not always directly in the center. And unfortunately with zoning, I run into this issue a lot. It's some people are basically at a disadvantage.
All right. So we have a survey that I guess will help answer this question. So it's your understanding that the fence is 2 feet into the easement and anything between the fence and the edge of the road is within the easement?
So it's 2 feet outside the easement, Your Honor.
All right, so the fence is not within the easement.
Correct.
So 2 feet from the fence to the edge of the road is the easement
Yes,
on this side?
correct.
And I believe, and I know it's hard to see, but that's what was submitted to the township, that size of the survey. But for clarification, I believe the survey that has been admitted as an exhibit shows most of that split rail fence being outside the easement, with some of it being within the easement because it does jog. So that's all shown on that survey here.
And as we discussed, it's hard to see it, but all right. He's, okay. At least on that side of the road. Okay, thanks.
That's all I have for this witness hearing.
Ms. Strong?
Thank you. Mr. Klein, can you remind me, how long have you worked for Safe Build?
Just over 6 years now.
And during that time, how long of that was spent in affiliation with the township?
The whole 6 years.
So it's fair to say that Safe Build is an agent of the township.
Yes.
And do you attend all of the town hall meetings?
No, I do not.
Do you attend most of them or some of them?
I attend when requested.
Okay. And who makes that request?
Usually the township supervisor or someone from the township.
And so were you working for Safe Build back when my clients bought the property?
No, I was
No.
not.
At what point did you start working for Safe Build? What year?
It was 2019.
So you were employed by Safe Build when they proposed to build that black barn, correct?
Correct.
Do you remember the plans for that black barn being submitted?
Yes, there were some plans submitted for it, yes.
And did you, as your job with Safe Build, you approved those plans, correct?
I'm going to reject on relevancy, Your Honor.
Your Honor, they're relevant to the parking and whether or not the parking was ever delineated to be within the easement.
I guess we'll find out. The black barn is inside the fence on this side, right where these cars are parking. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, I'll allow it and we'll see where we're going.
If I could just follow up and put something on the record here. I believe where Ms. Strong is headed is an argument that they're somehow allowed to be allowed to park, or their guests and anybody attending functions there are allowed to park within the easement. That has been something that has been before and between these defendants and the township, and was resolved with the special land use permit that was approved by the township and approved by the defendants.
All right, well, we'll see where the township doesn't own the easement.
That's correct.
It's owned by the private owners on Timber Trail. But obviously, your point is this was discussed at the time the black building was constructed.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, let's see where this goes.
And when the black building,
The special use permit is in the pleadings. It's not yet in as an exhibit, but we'll get to that.
when the black barn plan was submitted, did it show delineated specific parking within the easement?
I don't recall without having it in front of me exactly what was delineated on there.
Your Honor, if I may, proposed Exhibit B for the defense shows the site plan that was approved by Safe Bill. And I believe this has been furnished to Mr. Thornton in the past. If you could send that to Your Honor once you refresh your memory.
Your Honor, if I could have just a running objection to all these questions.
All right, thank you.
Based on relevance.
Again, these are very small. This says, let's mark this as defendant's Exhibit B.
And that exhibit shows parking along the backside of the black barn, correct?
That is correct.
And
Stop. Well, let me catch up. Mr. Klein, is this your document?
I'm not sure, Your Honor, where that came from. It could have been one of our documents that was scanned and uploaded or sent over to them.
All right, so the site plan, and subject to Mr. Thorne's objection, envisioned parking in this area?
Correct. At one time it did.
All right, and
It was presented that way at one time, yes, Your Honor.
all right. All right, any subject to Mr. Thorne's objection, Exhibit B is admitted.
Can I take a look at it, Your Honor?
Yes. It's hard to see it. Thank you. All right, he's going to argue that it was supplanted by later agreements, but let's see where we go with this.
And going back to the new parking lot that was created, you said that at the original meeting, any kind of extension or grace period was specifically denied, correct?
That's my understanding. That was what was written in the amended.
And how did you find out that there was leniency or a grace period?
It was discussed when I think when there was complaints starting to roll in about the parking within the easement. And I think it was that time it was kind of gauged or discussed, you know, what's reasonable to allow for time for them to move forward with the new parking lot.
And the parking lot was put in, it was hired, it was a hired job, right?
To my understanding, yes.
Okay. And you've been in communication with my clients regarding the updates and the status of the parking lot?
Correct.
Have they been in good communication?
Yeah.
They've kept you pretty updated?
Yes, they have been fairly reliable on communication.
Do you visit the property often?
Just when I have an inspection.
And when you visit the property, where do you park?
I park where I always park when I have an inspection, and that's usually within the easement, whether it's a private or public road. If it's something out in the area I'm investigating, I park within the right of way to do so.
When you visit Farrand Hall, where do you park?
Depends on what I'm there for. I sometimes park up by the house. If it's something related to a fence or something out by the easement, I park out there.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
And I would place an objection on the record to the site plan, Your Honor, because there has been many site plans over the last few years on this project. And so my objection would be the lack of foundation, as I do not, having reviewed that, I'm not sure which site plan that is.
Well, it is a site plan, and he acknowledged that it did encompass this. And again, maybe it was superseded by something else. We've also got the agreement. But initially, they're going forward in good faith, believing, spending considerable expenditure to build this building, that there would be parking in that spot. So we'll see where we go with that. All right. No further questions of this. You have any further questions for Mr. Klein?
I do, Your Honor.
All right.
I'm handing the witness what's been marked defendant's exhibit B. Mr. Klein, does that site plan show the location of the easement?
Not that I can see from this vantage point now.
Can you tell whether the parking places along Timber Run Trail, is Timber Run Trail designated on there?
It is, yes.
Okay. Can you tell from that site plan where that 66-foot easement
Not at
is?
all, no.
Can you tell whether those parking places shown on that site plan are within the easement or outside the easement?
Not definitively, no.
That's all I have.
Nothing further for this witness. no.
Thank you. All right, you may step down. Thank you.
Oh, Your Honor, before we release this witness, as Your Honor pointed out, the permit for special land use has not been admitted.
Yes.
I can, if the court will allow, or if Ms. Strong has an objection to it, I can.
I would
give
stipulate, I would stipulate to that admission.
So I would move for that.
All right, that would be exhibit 9. All right. Special use land permit. Admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Then, in that case, I do not have any more questions for Mr. Klein.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I would call Mr. James Gray as the next witness.
All right, let's talk about that. You object to that?
I significantly object to that. This is the township represented by an attorney pursuing a violation against my clients that has significant ripple effects. We heard testimony that there's going to be private and appropriate litigation against my clients in regards to this easement. And I can't allow my clients to be put in a position where they would testify and further injure their position when this is no, Your Honor.
All right, well, let's take a look at section 26(4), violation and penalty. Any owner or agent or any person who shall violate any of the provisions of this ordinance or fail to comply with any of the requirements thereof shall be subject to payment of a civil fine of not less than $50, not more than $500 plus cost per day for each infraction. Anyone who assists shall be subject to fines, costs, and sanctions specified. So these are civil infractions. They're not punishable by a criminal penalty. And so if this were a speeding ticket and he were facing a criminal charge, let's say someone was injured as a result of the speeding. And speeding, as we all know, is a civil infraction punishable by a fine only. I don't think he would be immune from being called to testify in a civil infraction case. However, let's say that someone died, and there could potentially be a criminal charge of a vehicular homicide type of matter. Certainly, any competent lawyer would object to their client being called to testify in such a case. But I don't see something like that. I don't see a criminal penalty here. I suppose if they fail to comply with this, there could be criminal contempt. But I think it's a civil matter. It's a civil infraction like a speeding ticket. So I believe he's entitled to call the defendant as a witness. Ms. Strong, if you wish to appeal that, we can stop. But it's my ruling that even though you strongly object, and there may be other civil matters, that doesn't prohibit him from testifying. For example, he could be subpoenaed for a deposition and deposed and questioned under oath in such a civil case. So if you have some authority that tells me I can prohibit it, I consider it, but.
And Your Honor, I would accept that, but I would just put a standing objection on the record to both clients' testimony for its use in other proceedings.
All right. We're gonna plow through here. I'm gonna miss my lunch meeting and we're probably gonna go into the afternoon. I have criminal pretrial starting at 2:00. I knew this was gonna happen.
The one last trial for Mr. Valentine shouldn't take very long. Did you get an email?
I did. There's several others, but well, that was dismissed. All right. So anyway, we're going to just plow ahead. Probably we would take a break, but I appreciate everybody's indulgence. All right. Who do you wish to call?
Mr. James Gray.
Mr. Gray, would you come forward? You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Please have a seat and state your name.
James Gray, Jamesgray.
Mr. Gray, you are one of the owners of Farrand Hall, is that correct?
Yes.
And that is the property commonly known as 58522 Farrand Hall or Farrand Road, Colon, Michigan, correct?
Correct.
In Mr. Gray, are you aware of a subpoena that I provided to your counsel back on August 1st that requested you bring any and all documents showing number of persons, including guests and employees on grounds of Farrand Hall on 5/25/2025?
Yes.
You're aware of that?
Yes.
Did you bring any documents today in response to that subpoena?
There are no documents.
So it's your testimony that you do not have any documents showing the number of persons, including guests and employees on the grounds of Farrand Hall on 5/25/2020.
Correct.
You wouldn't have any employment.
Let me stop you for a minute.
Asked and answered.
The question here is relevance. Her objection is that you're subpoenaing them for something other than this parking issue. There are some other things in that agreement about a number of employees that'll be present and that, and it was so limiting. But how is this relevant to whether or not these cars were parked in the easement on that particular day?
I believe what the relevancy is, Your Honor, and I believe what so far the testimony has shown is that the parking lot that Mr. Gray and Mr. Hagan installed was full on that day. So it's relevant in that why cars were parked out there in the easement.
Why? I don't need to know why. I've already heard from testimony that the parking lot was full. The question is, were they there or not? The building inspector parks there when he comes to look at the property. There's a why. But the obviously why is they park here because they don't have enough parking inside the property itself. But that, all right, I'll accept that. But I don't need to know how many employees were there, how many guests were there, that goes to some other litigation I think that she's concerned about in the future. So that goes into the special use permit that limits the number of staff, and I wasn't clear on why that is all there, but there's a lot of history to this. But yeah, I don't need to know how many guests were there that day. The testimony was the parking lot was full and at least 2 or 3 cars were parked in the easement. But I'll let you question further.
So the question was, would you have an employment record showing how many employees you have?
Your Honor, objection.
Why do you need to know that? I sustain the objection. Why do you need to know how many employees were there?
I didn't understand that you sustained the objection.
Well, she just objected and then I sustained it.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Gray, did you have the Mostrom and Associates survey the easement known as Timber Run Trail?
We did.
You remember when that was?
I don't remember the exact date, but it was done in conjunction with the plans for the new parking lot.
So this year?
There was a previous survey done that wasn't a full survey of that, but a partial survey of that. I don't remember the date on that as well.
Was the last time it was surveyed this year?
I believe so, yes.
And are you familiar with the boundaries of that easement?
The survey was done, yes.
So you've walked the property, you've looked at where Mr. Mostrom put or the employees of Mostrom Associates put the survey stakes?
Yes.
And showing the witness the series of photographs that have been admitted as plaintiff's photographs 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8. Do you look through those, please, Mr. Gray? Can you tell whether those vehicles are within the easement or outside the easement that are shown in those photographs?
They are within the easement.
And was there a wedding at Farrand Hall on May 25th of this year?
Yes, there was.
Were those vehicles there in relation to that wedding?
That's hard to say. I don't know those vehicles. I don't know who they belong to.
Was the parking lot that do you know whether the parking lot that you constructed and it was available and for cars parked there on the May 25th of this year, is that correct?
Yep.
Do you know whether that parking lot was full or not?
I believe it was.
No empty spaces in that parking lot.
It's hard to say. Throughout the day, cars came and went. It could have been full at one time. There could have been 1 or 2 spaces at other times. It's hard to know.
Did you ever walk out and look on May 25th during that wedding to see if cars were parking within the easement?
Honestly, I don't remember if we did that on that day or not.
When you say we, who do you mean by we?
The owners of Farrand Hall, Jacob and myself.
Did you take any actions on May 25th to prevent cars from parking within the easement?
We always do that.
On that day, May 25th, did you take any actions to make sure cars were not parking within the easement?
We do that every time there's anything happening on the property.
What actions do you take?
We ask people to move the cars.
But yet you testified you don't recall going out there and looking at all on May 25th.
It's hard to recall. It could have been me, it could have been somebody else on the property. It's hard to say who would have done that.
But you're not aware of anybody doing that?
It could have happened. It's hard to know whether that happened or not.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
You said it was a wedding on May 25th. Was that did someone pay you to host their wedding there?
No,
Who were the guests? Who were the parties?
they were friends and family of ours.
So did you charge them anything to host the wedding there?
No,
Was it an event?
no, it was not.
Was it an event associated with Farrand Hall, the business?
It was not.
So it was a private party hosted on your own property?
That's correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
How many spaces are in the parking lot?
I think on record or on the actual plans, I think it's 40 total.
Do you have other parking inside the easement?
Yeah, we allow people to park in the driveway by the house if overflow is needed. We can probably fit another 20 to 25 cars over there if needed.
Are there signs posted on the fence or out there that say no parking?
So not yet. We have applications submitted to the township for a sign. We just went through that process with Safe Build and the sign was denied.
So you've asked for permission to put a no parking in the easement, but you weren't able to get permission to put up a sign.
Correct.
Your Honor, may I ask a question on that? Because I believe that testimony is inaccurate.
Yeah, I raised it. You can inquire.
Mr. Gray, isn't it true that the sign that just got denied was not a no parking sign? Is that correct?
It was a sign that said guest parking with an arrow that pointed to the parking lot.
So that's a directional sign.
It is.
Doesn't say no parking on it anywhere.
Based on my understanding from Safe Build, we are not required to have those signs.
What signs?
No parking or directional signs whatsoever.
Okay.
It's not required.
Has Mr. Klein suggested to you to install no parking signs?
It has been suggested that we put signs up, and the first sign that we submitted for approval was the directional sign. And again, it was denied.
But you would agree that a directional guest parking with an arrow is not the same as a no parking sign.
That's correct.
So you didn't ever go to the hardware store and just get some no parking signs and put them on the fence?
It's our understanding that that is not allowed.
Okay.
We would need approval from the Planning Commission and from Safe Build for signage due to zoning requirements for the number of signs, square footage of signs, etc.
All right, we'll find out more about that. Do you discourage people from parking in the easement?
We do. And since the new parking lot has gone in, whenever we have an event, we have one of our employees out on Timber Run Road to ensure people are not parking there. In some cases, somebody might pull in and we would ask them to move their car to the parking lot and they would.
All right. Does that raise questions for anyone else?
It does not.
I do have one more follow-up for Mr. Gray. Ms. Strong asked you about, and I believe your testimony was you did not charge. I missed the name of the wedding party, I guess, that was on May 25th.
Is that relevant, Your Honor?
No, it's not.
But I would argue it is, Your Honor. He's contesting it wasn't.
So she's doing the same thing you're doing. She's fighting a different battle other than this parking battle. The fact whether this was an event or a private matter for the owners isn't relevant to this ticket. There was no objection, and I didn't object. I didn't know where it was going. But who the wedding party was is not relevant to this ticket that's issued here. Just isn't. The fact now you can inquire as to whether it was private or a public event, because she opened the door. But
I would ask one more question then and see if it elicits an objection and a ruling from the court. Was the event that was there, whether we call it an event or an occasion or whatever we call it, related to an employee of Farrand Hall?
I would object. I don't think that's relevant.
I guess I'll sustain the objection. We may be fighting some other battles in the future that may be relevant to that, but.
Your Honor, I would argue that the relevancy is that they're trying to imply that these cars may not have been there for Farrand Hall.
Oh. They're there for Farrand Hall. The car with a truck with a trailer, it's too big to fit in the parking lot, so they parked there. Who knows what was in it? But the burden of proof here is by a preponderance, not reasonable doubt. And so my opinion is these vehicles were here for Farrand Hall, whether it was a public or private event. So you've already met that burden.
With that finding, Your Honor, I'm fine.
All right. All right, you may step down. Thank you.
I do not have anything further.
All right. Let's look at Exhibit 9. Special land use permit, amended 10/21/24. Permit for special land use, Township Planning Commission, 10/14/2024. Date 10/21/24. Owners were granted a special land use permit on 3/12/18 to operate a bed and banquet facility / bed and breakfast. Owners filed an application to amend dated 6/12/24. Actions of Planning Commission on 10/14. 1. Regarding the request to amend the permit to reflect existing 32 by 32 white barn outbuilding is being used as part of the banquet facility, the request is approved. That building looks like it's 100 years old, but it's new. 2. Regarding the request to amend the permit to reflect that the existing 30 by 62 black barn outbuilding is being used as a kitchen and eating area as part of the banquet facility. The request is approved. That's the main kitchen and dining area of the facility. Number 3, regarding the request to amend the permit to allow parking along Timber Run Trail, the request is denied. 4, request regarding amend to permit the increase of employees from 8 to 15. The request is approved, subject to the terms and conditions of number 2. I'm not really sure what that's about. Regarding the request to amend the permit to allow a 20 by 27 addition to be added on the 30 by 62 black outbuilding is approved. So everything was approved except their request to allow parking on Timber Trail Road. Then it goes further in the special use. Again, I'm not sure what all this is about. It sort of limits their ability to operate, but let's go to the parking. No more than 80 guests on the property at a time. Parking. All parking must be within boundaries of the premises. However, there shall be no parking within the road right-of-way for Farrand Road or within the easement on Timber Run Trail. Any parking area consisting of grass shall be regularly mowed to help avoid grass fires. So they can't park there, but they're required to mow the easement.
That's not what it says.
Well, all right, regularly mowed, shall be regularly mowed. Outside music volume down by 10. All guests shall be gone by midnight. But importantly, no parking on Timber Run Trail. And Jacob Hagan signed it, James Gray signed it, the chairperson of the committee, Virginia Traddle, signed it. So they signed a special use permit. The township did allow them to put up some additional buildings and do some other things and some other limitations which don't really go to parking. But it's clear that the permit did not allow parking in this easement. All right. Plaintiff is rested. Ms. Strong, do you wish to present any evidence?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Argument.
Your Honor, part of zoning, and it's in the state statutes that authorizes Colon Township to have a zoning ordinance in place, is one of the things the township has to do, and the burden mostly falls on the Township Planning Commission, is to balance the interests of property owners. Not only the property owner requesting something on their property, but adjoining property owners and essentially anybody with property within the township. There are two types of uses allowed. Permitted uses that you can just do because the zoning ordinance allows it. It's permitted use. And special land uses, which aren't just permitted, but you have to get a special use permit to do it. And the statutes clearly allow, the state statutes clearly allow planning commissions to impose conditions and limitations on special land uses because they're not a permitted use. There's something outside the ordinary for that district. In this case, it's an agricultural district. And it's the type of use that has potential for adversely affecting the neighbors or the public at large. And so the conditions and limitations Your Honor sees, and yes, there is a lot of history here. And
well, and again, there's much under the surface other than this ticket. But all that's here is the ticket. Those restrictions just made it appear to me that's going to be very difficult to run a profitable enterprise in this location with those restrictions. But they're in there and I don't have to deal with them, at least not in this hearing.
So, Your Honor, and I understand, you get it. But those restrictions and conditions were imposed by the Planning Commission and agreed to by the defendants who were at the time represented by Ms. Strong, that this special land use permit was granted and signed and agreed to. And they got things out of this too. They got an expansion and other things. So The township has to look out for everybody's interests. I'm not here representing the particular neighbors. I'm here representing the entire township and the public interest, which does include the adjoining neighbors, which the township has an obligation and duty to look out for. And to enforce what the agreed upon terms were. So the township cannot authorize parking within the road right of way. It cannot authorize parking within a private easement. I've given that legal opinion to the township, and therefore why that limitation and condition is in there.
Yeah, let's restate that. The township doesn't have the authority to give parking permission to this organization within that easement. The easement belongs to the people on Timber Trail Road.
Correct.
I suppose Timber Trail Road could grant permission, and if the township allowed it, then, but nobody drives up and down Timber Trail Road except the people that go to Farrand Hall and the few families that live there. It's a dead end dirt road that doesn't go anywhere and is maybe the FedEx guy, and I'm not even sure he drives down there. The mailman doesn't. But you're right, the township doesn't have the authority to grant permission to park in that location.
I agree. And the other issue, Your Honor, I'll just raise is it's a safety issue. Parking within road right of ways for a business. When we grant a special land use, as the township does, this is not the only time we've had in a special land use permit a condition that you cannot be parking within the road right of way for your business. Again, it's a safety, it's a public safety issue that the township weighs and the planning commissioners waive when they're setting the terms of these permits. That's all.
All right. Ms. Strong.
The township does have a request for restitution too, if Your Honor finds them responsible.
Yes. All right.
Your Honor, the conversation that the township cannot authorize parking within a private easement, why can they restrict it? They're all private landowners. The cause of action is between the neighbors to restrict or change or modify the easement. It's property owned by my clients. They are using it for a business interest, and they have tried to work with the township regarding the special land use permit, which initially was very free and allowed them to operate in the way that they were operating. They subsequently, as we heard from testimony, had buildings approved by Safe Build, the testified to agent of the property, that were later approved in the new the amended special land use permit. But all of these restrictions were imposed to limit their ability to conduct their business. They have funneled millions of dollars into this property in improvements and parking and trying to build Farrand Hall and trying to build something that is bringing both revenue streams, jobs, attention to St. Joseph County. They have put down roots here and made a life. And at every point, the township has restricted that. At some point, enough is enough. Do they have to move? Do they have to put their property up for sale and move it to a different county and take away that revenue stream from St. Joseph County and pull up those roots and lose that economic impact? Is that what we're doing here? This is not about parking. This
Well,
is about prejudice.
it's not about, this is about parking, but it's not about parking. All I got is parking, gentlemen. You got a ticket. People that had come to your event parked in the road. Somebody, probably part of the wedding group, had a enclosed trailer. There wasn't anywhere else to put it. So they parked it in the road right of way. I had a concern whether the township does have the authority to, as she said, if they can't grant permission to park there, do they have the authority to restrict permission to park there? But you entered into an agreement that said you wouldn't park there. which answers the question. But yes, I've been to the facility. The buildings are very nice and they probably are in the neighborhood of millions of dollars. So there are a number of issues in here which restrict their ability to operate the business. Number of employees, number of guests. I don't have a position regarding that. Because that's not before me. It's just this parking issue where a truck and a trailer and maybe 1 or 2 cars were parked in the road right of way. It wasn't with their blessing and consent. Their testimony is that at this point, now that they have the parking lot, they have an employee that stands out there and says, hey, you can't park here. And frankly, it looks like a place to park, which is why I parked there when I went there last November. But it isn't. And now they have a parking lot. So I don't know. So the neighbors, 2 neighbors in the same house, took a picture the day of the wedding of some cars parked in the easement. I mentioned also, you're not subject to any criminal penalty. This is a civil infraction, punishable by a fine only. The ticket states that the fine is up to $250. When I saw this case had been authorized, I thought, oh, great. I wish it wasn't me, but it is. I wish it wasn't me on your other case either, but it is me now. Judge Stutzman had a conflict, so we don't get to pick. The judge gets what cases are brought before him. So let's look at the actual allegation. The ticket says, it's hard to read it. It's really hard to read it. By signing the permit holder agreed to not park within the easement. And the allegation is that they violated section 26.4. So the allegation is that they're somehow violating their special land use permit. But I'm not sure which section of the, so let's look again at 26.4. By signing special land use permit 1014-24B, agreed not to park within the easement. So it says it violates the zoning ordinance. The allegation is, I guess, that they're violating the special land use permit.
That's correct.
All right. So what section of the ordinance? Let's go back to 26.4.
On page 80 of what I supplied to the court in Ms. Strong, paragraph 7 of the zoning ordinance.
All right. Well, let me get to there. Page 80. We got a ways to go here. Ordinance 205. Way down here.
Should have been before ordinance 205. Yeah.
All right, get close. 78. 79. Which paragraph?
7.
All right, paragraph 7. This is what you're alleged to have violated. Conditions and limitations in addition to those specifically enumerated in the zoning ordinance may be made part of any permit granted in order to protect adjacent properties, the general neighborhood and residents, to make the proposed use comply with the intent and purpose of the zoning ordinance, other townships, ordinances, and state and federal laws and regulations. Any conditions and limitations imposed shall be specifically set forth in the permit granted and shall remain unchanged except upon mutual consent of the planning commission. All right, so where's the punishment portion of that?
That's the general 26.4. The permit, the special land use permit is granted under the zoning ordinance under this whole chapter 16.
And if I may ask a question, unchanged except upon the mutual consent of the planning commission and the landowners, the ticket specifically states that there was that parking lot that was supposed to be finished by X date, but that was never in the special land use permit. That was changed.
Oh, what does that mean?
The planning commission stated on the citation that there was an extension for putting in the parking lot, and they were in violation of that.
Well, from the ticket itself, it's hard to figure out exactly what the allegation is. We're trying to sort it out. So let's go back to the violation section. So the first 5 sentences don't apply. Ordinance continues, constitutes a separate offense and shall be subject to increased fines and penalties as provided by section 11 of the civil infraction ordinance. All right. The owner of any building or land where anything in violation of this ordinance shall be placed or shall exist, any architect, builder, contractor, agent, person, or entity employed in connection therewith. Well, where does it say violation of a special use permit is subject to this section?
Your Honor, it's the first sentence that you originally said doesn't apply. Any owner or agent, any person or corporation who shall violate any provisions of this ordinance,
all right, so
or fail to comply with any requirements thereof. All right. The special land use permit is granted under section or article 16 of the ordinance. It's just like all special land use permits, variances granted by ZBAs or zoning boards of appeals. Those are all done under the zoning ordinance.
All right, so we'll put the period after thereof. Any owner or agent and any person or corporation who shall violate any of the provisions of this ordinance or fail to comply with any of the requirements thereof shall be guilty of the civil or responsible for the civil infraction. So let's go back to page 80, section 7. Still kind of struggling here because it isn't very clear, but I think it is intended under the general ordinance. Conditions and limitations in addition to those specifically enumerated in the zoning ordinance may be made a part of any permit which we have granted and to protect adjacent properties. And they failed to comply with the terms of the permit. So as a layperson, if you got this ticket, you would have a really hard time figuring out exactly what it is you did that was the violation. I'm the judge, and I'm having trouble figuring out exactly what it is you did that violated it. The ticket itself doesn't give very much notice. It just cites the zoning ordinance, with that first sentence of which is relevant, as Mr. Thornton has argued. And the stuff in the ticket, it was written by Forrest Klein on 6/10.
Joe Klein.
Well, he signs it Forrest Klein. Has stuff continues to park within the easement. It doesn't matter whether they finish the parking lot or not. Not to park within the easement and continues to park within the easement. So it's a civil infraction. And the burden of proof is one of probable cause, which is just barely more than not. In a criminal case, the burden is beyond a proof of beyond a reasonable doubt. They cited both of you separately for the same violation. I don't know if this is owned by a corporation or privately owned, but you've each got cited with a civil infraction for somebody parking in the easement that you may have not even known were there. The township wishes to argue for restitution. And again, let's look at the sanctions. Shall be subject to fines, costs, and sanctions specified above. So I guess I'm not sure what costs are. If costs are what if the court assess fines and costs. Fines go to the library, costs go to the court. I'm not sure, but they're asking for restitution. Mr. Thornton?
Safe Built has costs of $410 from issuing the citations through today's hearing. And my office has $1,800 in this through today's hearing.
For 3 cars parked in the easement on May 28. Miss Strong, what's your position?
Your Honor, I would ask for the court's discretion if the court is going to find my clients responsible for 3 cars parked in an easement. It should not be a matter of paying legal bills that have stemmed from a long history with this case that has required preparation. My clients have retained counsel. They've had retained counsel at every step of this case. They have invested substantially in the property, substantially in their legal defense. And we're not even talking about the hundreds of thousands of dollars that it took to put in this parking lot. Parking lots aren't put in overnight. They require time and effort of all parties involved. So I would object to the restitution.
Well, I'm not. Other sanctions. The ordinance is sort of unclear. The ticket says it's $250. The violation section doesn't say that. Any agent, owner, or person who violate any provisions of this ordinance or fail to comply with it thereof is responsible for a municipal civil infraction subject to payment of a civil fine of not less than $50 or more than $500. So it's not set at $250. I think that may be their fee schedule or something, or maybe the courts. Plus cost and other sanctions.
Your Honor, as we do in other civil infraction cases, it's actually the civil infraction statute that gives the court the discretion to order restitution.
Well, it's under cost. It isn't restitute, but the court does have the discretion. This says is responsible for a civil infraction subject to payment of a civil fine of not less than $50. So it's subject to, it doesn't say shall. It says is responsible, subject to payment. This ordinance is unclear, but the fine is not less than $50 and more than $500. All right. Each defendant is cited separately. I'm struggling with the actual violation, and it was hard to distill this down to what it actually is. The allegation is on that day, a truck with an enclosed trailer, a van, and perhaps a third car were parked in the easement somewhere between afternoon and evening. The easement belongs to a private entity, not township. So defense argues if township isn't responsible and can't grant permission to park there, do they also have the permission to say you can't park there? But you entered into a voluntary agreement saying you would not park there. And I don't think that the parties there parked there with your permission and consent. There's more going on here, which is I'm trying to set aside. It isn't as though the defendants went out and encouraged people to park in that road right of way. Now, there's been much previous parking in the road right of way before they had the parking lot. Now they have the parking lot, which I fear isn't big enough. They're only, for reasons I don't understand, only allowed to have 80 people in there. Not very many weddings have less than 80 people invited. They're only allowed to have so much staff. That goes to something other than this parking issue. So we're seeing the tip of the iceberg. The township grabbed this tiger by the tail on behalf of the people from Timber Trail Run and hired Mr. Thorne to bring this action. I'm gonna order a $100 fine for each defendant. I'm not ordering any costs. Township went into this with their eyes open. Defendant has to hire their attorney at considerable expense on this civil infraction. I'm not going to order that they pay the township's expense in addition. Mr. James Gray, you will fine of $100. It's due 30 days from today, which is September 8th. That is in file 251080. Mr. Jacob Hagan, you are also fined $100. File 251079. Oh, and it's also due September 8th.
For clarification, is the court finding them responsible for the parking violation?
Correct. Each defendant is charged separately as responsible for the parking violation, primarily on the basis of the use permit that they signed and agreed to. I think they're going to be much more diligent about it now. Now they have a parking lot. The parking lot isn't big enough. They needed more than 40 cars, but I'm not sure exactly the lay of the land. If you have 80 people, that's 2 people per car. And but yes, they're guilty of the violations You can pay that today, you can pay it with credit card, you can send a certified check or money order, or you can pay with the old-fashioned green cash or a credit card. The offense cited, I found you responsible for beyond a preponderance of evidence, and I assessed a fine that's over the minimum but less than the maximum. All right, we'll be recessed.
Thank you, Your Honor.